The mystery of marriage. For most people, marriage seems like a mystery. I mean, if you were to just go to the bookstore or to Amazon.com and browse the marriage section, you'd find hundreds, perhaps thousands of books, and many of them with conflicting or even contradictory advice. And if you are a married person or know a married person, how many times at some point did you hear someone say or you yourself say or think, well, I don't understand my wife and why she does such and such? Or why can't my husband be this way or that way? I just don't understand. Or if you're not married, if you're single, you might be asking yourself the question of why would I want to subject myself to marriage because of this or because of that? I just don't understand. Or you might be asking, I don't even know why I'm not married yet. I want to be, but I just don't understand. And it almost seems as if Paul is in agreement. Marriage is such a mystery. But if you pay close attention, that's actually not what he's saying. But let's take a look at the verse in which he does refer or seem to refer to marriage as this mystery. And it's from Ephesians 5:31 to 33. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery. But I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. So what is the mystery? This is a great mystery, which is referring to the previous sentence, the two shall become one flesh. So it seems like the this of the great mystery is in fact referring to the marriage. But then Paul pivots and says, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. So it seems like he's saying, I'm talking about marriage, but I'm really not talking about marriage. I'm actually talking about Christ and the church. And then says, nevertheless, husbands, love your wife and wives respect your husband. So he seems to come back. And so it looks a little confusing. It was the church? Is it the marriage? I mean, maybe that's what the mystery is. He's not going to be clear on which it is. What is it that Paul is actually trying to say? So the first thing is this is actually a trick question. I started by asking, is marriage a mystery? And then went to the passage where it appears, at least in part, Paul's referring to marriage as a mystery. But mystery is not what we commonly think a mystery is. When we hear the word mystery, we think of it as a whodunit, or it's a puzzle. It's something for which we don't have the answer. A plane's flying over the ocean, disappears. That's a mystery. Have no idea. But that's not the intent, and that's not how it's used. And when you see the use of the word mystery in other passages, it becomes clear within the context. That's probably not what it means. It actually means that which is revealed and therefore now known. What was once unknown is now known and revealed. That is the mystery. And we see here the mystery is Christ and the gospel. So when he refers to a mystery, whether it's the marriage or Christ and the church, and we'll parse that shortly, he's not saying, as we commonly understand a mystery to me, I have no idea. This is so puzzling. I don't understand. He's actually saying the reverse. This is once unknown and now revealed to you. However, there are some things which remain a mystery, and it's not about the information. It's not about Christ or the marriage. It's about the recipient. There are some things which will not be understood, even though they have been revealed, if you have not been regenerated. And it's not about whether you attend church. So that's why I want to emphasize this point. Please pay attention, because some things will be lost amongst those even in the church for this very reason. Now, the truth is actually what precedes this passage. We are to know the truth. In fact, right before Paul talks about marriage, he's actually talking about truth, specifically wisdom. He says in Ephesians 5:15, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." So he's starting it off by saying, be wise. Do not act as a fool. And then spend some time talking about the nature of marriage. And so, to me, the mystery, which was that which is revealed to be truth, the revealed truth is made available to those who have this wisdom. This is the wisdom for which we are to understand Christ and the church. You are supposed to know this. Otherwise, you are a fool. It is not a mystery being withheld. It is something to know. And perhaps you haven't heard it, and there are reasons why, and we can talk about this. But what I'm revealing and discussing here should be known and well understood by anyone who's been regenerated. So what then is this truth? What is it that he's actually referring to? And it is about marriage, and we will talk about that. But I want us to frame this very important part, which is, what is this wisdom? What is this revealed truth? Because if we don't understand that, we don't have an agreement on that, then what is the point of going into this? Because being able to tell what is wisdom is also the ability to tell what is not. And so I would argue that wisdom is a combination of power and truth. And we'll see in a moment why this is the case. But I want to make sure that wisdom should be seen as both power and truth. And before we get into that, I want to make sure that we dismiss or separate a common understanding of wisdom. One of them is, well, it's just common sense, so therefore I already have wisdom. And the second is, well, wisdom belongs to those who have an old age, and it will be learned eventually. And eventually I'll get that purely by the matter of fact of I am becoming older. And both thoughts are not only wrong, but could be destructive. Now, does it mean standing on their own in conjunction with something else, they're not true? But they are wrong if you hold on to them too tightly, meaning I don't need to really examine myself in terms of wisdom because I have common sense. Or I don't need to hold myself to a standard of being wise because it will come in due time. Those are two mistakes. So, if we've talked about wisdom is essential to understanding marriage in the church, we know that it must be important. So the next question should be, if we value the church and if we value our marriage, is not the right question at this point, how do I know if I am wise? How do I know what is wisdom? How do I know if I'm able to receive it? How do I know if the thoughts already in my head are based in wisdom? And so that's the test to examine oneself, and that is what we're going to go through for the rest of this. It's to be able to discern, if you were to ask yourself, according to scriptures, are you walking in wisdom? And, there's a saying that, well, if you don't know the answer to the question, who is the patsy, then you're the patsy.